Seeing or hearing none, let's move on to the consent agenda. Item 3 is approval of the meeting minutes of September the 23rd, 2020. Item 4, approval of an advisory board position application for Bob Schultz. Item 5, approval of the residential incentive program application for 1114 New York Avenue. Item 6, approval of the residential incentive program application for 403 West 11th Street. Number 7, approval of the residential incentive program applications for 407 West 11th Street. Does the commission want any of these items removed from the consent agenda? No? So what's the pleasure of the commission?
I move to approve.
Motion and a second. Is any discussion with the commission?
I have a question
Yes,
for
ma'am.
Ben, if I could, or if somebody else here can answer. How are our funds looking for this incentive program? Do we still have plenty of funds for this?
Yeah, we haven't used any funds under this budget line item so far, so this is the first time. So yes, all of these requests are fully funded.
Awesome.
Any other discussion?
No, thank you.
I'd just like to tell Ben, thank you for being thorough with the paperwork. I mean, you know from past, I always pull up the property appraiser's website to look at who the property owner is, and you started including all that in the data, so I appreciate you saving me the trouble having to do that, so thank you. So any discussion with the public? Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes. Okay, the consent agenda passes. On to new business. Item number 8, discussion and possible approval of a storefront assistance program application for 922 Ohio Avenue. This is Adams Pharmacy. Ben, would you like to give a report?
I'd be happy to. Adams Pharmacy submitted this application a few weeks ago. Is this on? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And in regards to the recent renovation of their pharmacy right here on Ohio Avenue, the overall project cost was identified as, I think that's better, as $78,887. Adams Pharmacy submitted invoices in the amount of $58,297. So they submitted more than enough invoices to reach the $25,000 max that we have under the storefront assistance program. The maximum amount is $27,500, and that is put together. That includes construction costs and also architectural expenses. And as part of the architectural expenses, they submitted an invoice for $2,250. 50% of that is obviously $1,125. So staff would be recommending to reimburse Adams Pharmacy a total of $26,125 for this project. Are there any questions?
Go ahead.
I move to approve this.
We got a motion and a second. I'm sure there's some discussion. So yes, ma'am.
I just have the question. How much do we have in that fund for the businesses?
For this line item,
Yes.
we have $40,000 in our budget.
Okay. Thank
Ben,
you.
do you know, oh, I'm sorry, Commissioner. were you
No,
finished?
I'm done.
Okay. I just had a question about, do we know or have we looked at how many storefronts there are left potentially to tap into that fund? I mean, our corridor is pretty up to snuff if you look at it. I'm not sure, with it being $40,000, if we do the 25, then for 11 more months.
I haven't done the exact count, but I would agree with your statements. Most of the businesses along the Ohio Avenue corridor that would qualify for this incentive. So basically, the businesses on Ohio and Florida Avenue between 5th Street and 12th Street, most of them are already renovated. So there's maybe one or two left.
Yeah. So you don't anticipate too much stress on the account, in other words? Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I would be surprised, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion with the commission? No? Any discussion with the public? Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Purno? Commissioner Aldridge?
Yes.
Commissioner Tender?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell?
Yes, thank you. Item 8 passes. Item number 9, discussion and possible action regarding the update of the CRA residential paint program rules. We're going back to you again, Ben.
So this is probably one of the more recent incentive programs that we added to our list of projects to enhance the appearance of our downtown area or our residential area. So far, we had about 8 residents or 8 property owners participate in this program. And after reviewing, the process, how this incentive kind of worked through or was applied to these properties, I noticed that some property owners needed some extra time for various reasons to actually paint their residence. And so I felt that it was important to underline in the application that whenever the CRA gives them the paint, they should really be painting their house and not wait for another 12 months to think about house. And there are 1 or 2 strugglers right now. They're running behind schedule for various reasons, and I do want to emphasize this with the applicants that we don't want to wait. And, once this application is approved, you should take action. You should, we should get this done sooner than later and not wait for 6 or 9 months. So that's the reason why I went back to the drawing board, and I thought at this point it would make sense just to add a little bit more language to the application to have a clear understanding between the CRA and the applicant. If that doesn't work, maybe in another 12 months or 9 months, we will come back and we will change the wording maybe again to be a little bit more direct, or to even change the procedure. But at this point, I think this recommendation, these proposed changes should be sufficient to get the applicant's attention.
So,
Go ahead.
if I may, thank you. Lost my train of thought. So for the ones that you spoke about that you said that they've been given the money but they haven't painted the homes, is there a way for us to know? I guess there's not. I mean, what safeguards are there in place for the city for giving people money and making sure they're not going to buy a car or whatever? I mean, you know what I'm saying? And then they thought, well, I'll work 6 months and save up the money and then paint the house, and then that don't work out. And then, do we have any processes in place to safeguard against any of that, or?
Well, first of all, no applicant received any money from the CRA under this program. Step 1 would be, once the application is approved, step 1 would be the CRA hires a power washing company to clean the house. Right. Step number 2 would be for the CRA director to go to the paint shop and to purchase the paint for that project.
Okay.
And the paint shop would deliver the paint to the house, and the last step would be for the applicant to paint the house. So we gave them all the tools they needed in order to complete their task.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
If, and obviously y'all are aware I'm not running again. If this comes to fruition and you have to readjust the program again, I might suggest that it become a reimbursement program. If you continue to have this issue down the road, you tell them they've got to buy the paint, they've got to paint the house. Once that's done, then you'll reimburse them for the amount of money they've paid for the paint, if it becomes a big enough issue. But I think at this point you're saying that you think this will give you the teeth that you need to do the job,
yes.
Correct? Okay.
Mayor? Oh, go ahead.
Mayor Pro Tem, I don't know whether or not the audience knows the proposed wording, and he's going to add to the application if approved by the board. Ben, you may want to read that to them, the proposed wording for
The
that.
addition?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, sure. So the additional language would be inserted on page 2, and it would read, "Be advised that the city or the CRA will be demanding the reimbursement of project expenses from the applicant should the project not be completed in a timely manner." In parentheses is less than 6 months. So I think we really need to speak a clear message here, or convey a clear message here. This is what we're expecting. And if you don't feel like you can fulfill this, you shouldn't be signing this application.
Okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, can I
Yes,
ask
of
a
course.
question?
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, because I know nothing about painting, I don't know how many gallons it takes to paint the outside of a house, but how long, what kind of life does that paint have? How long can it sit out before it's no good?
That is a very good question. I am not a paint expert, but I can tell you that. The amount of paint you need for your residence really depends on, number one, the size of your residence, and also the material, the exterior material that was used. Stucco needs more paint than hardy board, for example. The paint store makes that determination. They will take a look at the building and they measure it. They look at the materials that were used, and they can make a pretty good estimate how many gallons they need.
What's your average that you pay for it when you go in? I mean, does it cost us $500, $200, what?
Around $500. $500 is reasonable, yes. And it is good quality paint, so it's not that they would have to paint it again.
Have you had somebody actually, have you gone back to see if they even still have the paint? Have they sold it? And all the things you bought for them to put it on with? Do you know they still have it?
If they sold the surplus paint? No, I haven't gone back and asked them, but they may have a gallon or two left, but that's, you know.
Oh, no, I don't mean the surplus. I mean the people who aren't painting. Do they even have the paint? I mean, they could have sold it to somebody who needed it.
No, I haven't reached out to those individuals.
Okay. Do you know if any of it's due to them being elderly, not having anybody to paint the house?
I know of one applicant that is elderly, and I'm working actually with a non-for-profit organization in that regard to come up with a solution where they can provide the labor to actually paint the house. So we're really thinking outside the box here. If somebody cannot do the job, I'm really trying to listen to the applicant to understand what's the issue. You know, is it, I mean, one applicant, her cousin was supposed to paint the house, the cousin's car broke down, and so the plan didn't work out as anticipated. So we are working on a plan B together. It's not that I'm trying to cause some more trouble for these individuals, for these applicants. I'm trying to find solutions here, and if it's a matter of organizing some help with a non-for-profit organization, I'm all for it.
Is it?
That's all. Thank you.
So what would the commission like to do?
I'd make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion with the public? Any discussion with the commission?
Just, Ben, just real quick, number 6, the property owner records a facade preservation once the project is complete. That's on their dime, right? That's not part of the part of what you're adding to the mix here, right?
No,
There'll be a seal put on the paint. Is that what you're saying?
Are you referring to question number 6?
I'm referring to program rules number 6 on page 2.
Okay, so
No, we
no,
recorded
the
that.
facade preservation easement is a legal document that will be recorded after the project is complete. That says, here, as you as a property owner, we gave you money to improve the appearance of your home. You should take care of your home for the next 5 years. So make sure that you continue to trim your bushes, make sure that you cut your grass around the house, because we just made that investment. And to document this agreement, we created this easement that is being recorded.
Okay, so that's not actual protective coating on the paint
No,
or anything
no.
like that? Okay,
Legal protection, if you will.
okay.
Mayor Pro Tem, may I ask one more
Yes, ma'am.
question?
Yes, ma'am.
How many homes currently do you have situation that they have not painted the homes?
I would say between 2 and 3 out of 8 applications that I received so far.
2 or 3?
Yes. I'm working with number 3 on a solution, and we're really close.
Thank you.
I did not actively advertise for this incentive in the last couple of months because of these issues. Because I wanted to kind of calibrate the application first before I start lining up some more applicants for this program, because I really want to make sure the system, we have a well-working system.
Thank you, Ben. Hearing no other questions, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes. Okay. Moving on to item number 10, approval of the residential paint program application for 1008 Minnesota Avenue. Ben, we're back to you again.
So having all of that said, about not advertising this application or this incentive for the last couple of months, this is really an application I received last year, and there were some delays in the application process. Some documents were missing, so I had to wait another month or 2 to get this information from the applicant. And then it was the end of the fiscal year and so on. Anyway, I had multiple conversations with this applicant. Now I feel confident that Mrs. Mason will be able to complete this paint project on time and on budget as anticipated. So that's the reason why I added this to the agenda. We got all of the kinks worked out with Ms. Mason, and we're ready to move forward with this application.
Thank you, Ben. Is there any questions from the Commissioner for Ben on this project?
I'd make a motion to approve, Mayor Pro Tem.
We have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Is there any discussion with the Commission? Nope. Any discussion with the public? Hearing none, City Manager, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Aldridge,
Yes.
Commissioner Perno,
Yes.
Commissioner Tender,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Russell.
Yes, thank you. And that comes to item number 11, adjournment. Thank you all for coming out. The Commission meeting will start